Hi friends, and welcome to the last day of workbook pages for lesson 11. So today we're going to be doing pages 247, 248, 249, and 250. You guys know session 4 is always the longest. And when you finish, you can work on past due lessons or you can follow your path. Sorry, I just threw my pen. Okay, so we're going to start on page 247. So the question says find 435 times 2 and show your work. So for this one, it is pretty easy to draw a picture. So if you wanted to draw a picture, you could. You would just have the 400s. Oh, these are terrible boxes. I'm so sorry, guys. And then 3, 4, 5. And then you would just have to draw that twice. And then you would just count on to figure out what your total is. So that's one way. And then that would just be your answer. I'll put a question mark since we don't know it yet. But the other way is stacking it like we've been doing, or breaking it apart by place value. So we're going to break apart 435 by its place value. So we could say 400 plus 30. Sorry, friend, this is like a hard angle today. Plus 5. And then we're going to take that 2 and multiply it by every part of our place value. So 2 times 400 plus 30 times 2 plus 5 times 2. So then 2 times 4 is 8, add the 2 zeros, plus 3 times 2, which is 6, and add a 0, plus the 5 times 2, which is 10. So then our answer would be 870, because that 10 would bump up that 6. So then we could say 435 times 2 is equal to 870. So it's whatever strategy works best for you. If you prefer to do it out like this, and that's what you feel most comfortable with when it comes to the comprehension trick questions, go for it. If you like this, or if you like it set up better like this, it's whatever your preference is at this point, and whatever you feel the most successful with. So again, friends, I'm on the me if you need me. If you need a pause to write this down, feel free, and if not, we are going to move on to page 248. So, number 2 has a multiplication problem with the thousands place, so I think it's best to stack it for this one, just so we don't lose any place value. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have 6,309 times 4. And then we're just going to multiply by place value. So 9 times 4 is 36. 4 times 0 tens is 0, so I'm just going to do zeros for my place value. 4 times 3 is 12, and then we're going to add the 2 zeros because it's in the hundreds place. And then we're going to multiply 6 times 4, which is 24. And then we are going to add the 3 zeros because it is in the thousands place. And then from there, you can see, friends, I'm being very careful with lining up my place value. So we have 6 plus nothing is 6, 3 plus nothing is 3, 2 plus nothing is 2, 4 plus 1 is 5, and then 2 plus nothing is 2. So then we can say 6,309 times 4 is equal to 25,236. Now remember, friends, if the other way of breaking this apart into the expanded form, so saying 6,000 plus 300 plus 0 plus 9 makes more sense to you, and then just multiplying out that 4 to each one, again, it's totally up to you. It's whatever makes the most sense to you. So if you don't have any questions, we can move on to number 3. So number 3 says a hardware store has 147 containers of paint. Each container holds 5 gallons. How many gallons of paint does the store have? So it's a simple multiplication problem. We're going to multiply the 147 containers by the 5 gallons each to figure out how much paint they have. Now for this one, I think it's best to stack because I don't feel like drawing 147 5 times. So today we're going to stack this one. But again, if you feel the need to draw the picture or do it with expanded form, again, completely your call. As long as you get the same answer, that is okay with me. So we have 7 times 5, which is 35. And then we have 5 times 40, which is going to, well, 5 times 4 is 20. And then add the 0 is 200. And then 5 times 100 is 500. And then we just add them up. So 5 plus nothing is 5. 3 plus nothing is 3. 5 plus 2 is 7. So we look, how many gallons of paint does the store have? Well, they have C, 735. Now, Dale chose A. So he said 235. So the question is, how did he get that answer? And for this one, Dale multiplied the wrong number. He didn't multiply one of them. So what he did is when he had the problem 147 times 5, he did 7 times 5, which we know is 35. And then he did 5 times 4, which is 200. And guess what, friends? He stopped there. He didn't multiply these two numbers. He didn't do that. So then that's how he got 235. So we can say Dale didn't multiply the 5 with the hundreds place. And for questions like these, friends, the hint is just to try to do the problem wrong and see if you end up getting what they got. So like for this one, Dale chose A, so he said 235. So you would have had to guess and check and kind of make some mathematical mistakes until you figured out how he went about getting it. So these are tricky, I understand that. It's just kind of being patient and working through it. So if you have any questions, feel free to pause and join the meet. Or pause the video and write any of this down if you're confused. And then we are moving on to page 249. We have a couple more problems, friends. We're almost there. So, on page 249, the first one says, select all the expressions that give us a product of 810. So, for these, I think it's easiest just to go by place value. But obviously, you could also do the work off to the side. So, for example, 90 times 9, that one's easy. You just take the 9s and multiply them. 9 times 9 is 81, and then you're going to have to add the 0. So we get 810. That's the product we're looking for. So A is an expression that has a product of 810. Now, for 405 divided by 2, it's not as easy because there's a 5 in the ones place. So for this one, I would just do it out to the side. So 405 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 0 is 0. And then 2 times 400 is 800. If we add them all together, look at that. We have 810, which is the number we're looking for. So it's also B, but it says select all the expressions. So we know there's more than one, so we're going to check each and every one of these. So for letter C, we have 3 times 2, which is 6, add the 0, plus 3 times 7, which is 21, and then add the 0. So if we add 210 plus 60, we get 270. That is not what we're looking for, so C is not an option. And then we keep going. So 2 times 4 is 8. Add the 2 zeros. Times, not plus here, this is times, 2 times 5, which is 10. So if we do this, we have 10 times 800. It's not plus, so we know automatically this is going to be over 810 because we're multiplying by 10. So it'd be like adding a 0, so that would give us 8,000. We do not need that, so that is wrong. So then we're going to check this last one. 5 times 100 is 500, plus 5 times 60. 5 times 6 is 30. Add the 0. Plus 5 times 2, which is 10. So we have 500 plus 300, which is 800, plus 10, which gives us 810, meaning E is also an answer. Now, friends, I know we went through that one kind of quickly. It was just kind of a bunch of quick math. So if you have any questions on these types of problems, please make sure you join the Google Meet and ask. If you don't have any questions, we can move on to number 5. So Mr. Larson is planning a pizza party for 273 people. He plans on 3 slices of pizza for each person. How many slices of pizza is this in all? Meaning we're multiplying the 273 times 3 to get the product of how many slices of pizza they're going to need. So if we have 273 times 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 70 times 3, well, 7 times 3 is 21. Add that 0, we get 210. And then 3 times 200 is 600. Then we're going to add these up. We have 9 plus 0, which is 9. 1 plus 0, which is 1. 6 plus 2, which is 8. So they're going to need 819 slices of pizza. Holy moly, that is a lot of pizza. So remember, friends, you can stack it, or we can do it horizontally like we're going to do here. So we have 2,906 times 2. I'm going to break apart my 2,000 plus 900 plus 0, because we have nothing in the tens, plus the 6 and the 1s. And then I'm going to go and multiply 2 by each of these numbers. So I'm going to do 2 times 2,000. And remember, friends, this is identical to this. One is just stacked and one of them is not. So we have 2 times 2,000, 2 times 900, plus 2 times the 0, plus 2 times the 6. So 2 times 2,000, we have 4. Keep the 3 zeros. Plus 2 times 9 is 18. Keep the 2 zeros. Plus 2 times 0, we know anything times 0 is 0. And then plus 2 times 6, which is 12. So then we can go and add these numbers together. So we can say 2,906 times 2 is equal to 5,812. And if we were filling in the boxes, you can see I just made a mistake. It's always best to start in the ones place and work your way to the left, so you know you aren't mixing up any of your place value. So again, friends, if you have any questions, please join the Google Meet. If you need a pause to write any of this down, this is also a great time to do that. And if you're ready to move on, we're going to move on to our last workbook page of today. So we're going to look at number 7 and 8. We're just going to talk about this one. So this will be where you come and tell me in the Google Meet. We're not going to do this one together as a group, okay? But I'll go over that once we get there. So, number 7 says, Laura says, when you multiply a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number, the product is always a 4-digit number. Laura writes an equation to support her statement. Greg writes an equation to show Laura's statement is false. So Greg thinks that she is not true. She thinks every time you multiply a 3-digit by a 1-digit, you're going to get a 4-digit. So for this one, you could honestly plug in any number and then just kind of see how it works. For Laura, we're going to plug in a 4 and see what we get. So if we do 328 times 4, I'm just going to do it off to the side over here. We have 8 times 4 is 32, 4 times 20 is 80, 4 times 3 is 12, and then we're going to add the 2 zeros. I am just running out of room today. So we have 2, 8 plus 3 is 11, 3 and 1, so she got 1,312. So she did have a point. She multiplied a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number and got a 4-digit number. However, say we had 328. Remember, Greg's trying to prove her wrong and say that when you multiply a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number, it doesn't mean you automatically get a 4-digit number. And we're going to prove Laura's wrong by multiplying 328 times 2. Now, if we do that off to the side, 328 times 2, 8 times 2 is 16, 2 times 2 is 4, add the 0 because it's in the tens place, 2 times 300 is 600. If we add those up, look at that, friends, we get a 3-digit number. Now, friends, you could have done 5 and 1. You could have done a bunch of different numbers here, especially for Laura's, not so much Greg's, because after a while you do get into the 3-digit numbers. Anything above 2, I'm pretty sure you would, but it's just a matter of understanding that just because you have a 3-digit number times a 1-digit number does not mean you're always going to get a 4-digit number. Obviously, sometimes you may, but as you can see with Greg's equation that we made, it's also an option to get a 3-digit number. But I wouldn't worry too much about problems like this, friends. This is just to kind of get you thinking about the patterns when multiplying 3-digit numbers by 1-digit number. So, moving on, our last one we're doing together, number 8. So it says, 4th grade students hold a recycling drive. In 1 week, they collect 1,238 water bottles each day. How many water bottles do the 4th graders collect that week? Hint, there are 7 days in a week. So, if they're collecting 1,238 water bottles per day, and they're doing this for 1 week, that means we're going to multiply the 1,238 times the 7, okay? So, like we've been doing recently, I think with the thousands place, it kind of gets easier to do expanded form, but I also want to show you it stacked. So for this one, we are going to stack it. It's still the same idea, just set up a different way. So we have 8 times 7, which is 56. We have 7 times 30, which we keep the 0. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 200, so 7 times 2 is 14. Keep the 2 zeros to make it 100. And then 7 times 1,000 is 7,000. And then we just add them up, so we have 6, 6, 6, 8. So that means they collected 8,666 water bottles in 1 week. So we can say that 1,238 times 7 is equal to 8,666 water bottles collected. Okay? And then last but not least for today, I want you to explain what strategy you would use to find 357 times 8. Would you keep it set up like this and then break apart into expanded form and do it that way and then multiply everything by 8? You don't have to write this, friends. I just want to hear you talk about it on the Google Meet, okay? So would you do this way? Would you go and draw the picture 7 times? Or would you just stack it 357 times 8 and then go from there, okay? So would you do option 1, 2, or 3? And I want you to tell me why. What would be the easiest way for you? And then once you do that, you can jump onto iReady and work on any past due lessons or follow your path. I'll see you guys later.